I've been hearing quite a lot about the new Deckard headset from Valve. So there's a couple of patents, of course, that I've been scouring through. There's one from 2022 and one from 2023. They both seem to have very interesting components, like there's a battery pack apparently on the back. It does seem to be modeled based off the Index and not any other headsets, so that's really cool, but it could be standalone. And there's also a lot of things that have been added to SteamVR as updates. So we've discovered, for example, that there are things to implement face tracking and eye tracking, which could mean that it's there for compatibility for other headsets or other devices, but it can also suggest that maybe the Deckard will be capable of face tracking. In other news for the headset, we've also been able to find these new ROY controllers in the SteamVR files. And interestingly enough, there's some that do appear to have tracker rings and some that don't. So maybe the controllers could be standalone as well. And we also have new models which have not been previously found before. And we do have them in the studio as well to take a closer look at them. So as you can see, they do look like normal VR controllers, like the ones you would expect from the Quest or other headsets. However, there are some really interesting things, like why exactly does this one have a D-pad and where's the touchpad? Well, it looks like they're modeling more after the flat screen models for regular game controllers rather than what people are currently doing for VR controllers nowadays. Though, of course, you still have the SteamVR buttons, the menu buttons, and the share buttons, and the trigger and grip, as with every other standard controller model. Now, what we don't currently know is the price. We don't know the release date. We don't know exactly what will come on the headset. But from that information, that's all that I've been able to gather currently. And we would only really know more if they decide to leak more content on accident or purpose, or if they release something. So we'll see. For the second talk, of course, the VR gloves, which I'm sure a lot of you really, really, really are interested in.
Explain to us what it is all about. Like, okay. I'm sure. Like, okay, tell me. Okay, tell me. Go on.
All right. So as you can see in the video, these are actually the immersive gloves by a company called EoZ VR. Now, they do make a lot of VR gear. They make USB hubs, they make dongles, they sell Tundra trackers and straps, and Lyra's gone. But we do have models of the, we do have the product listing of these gloves also that we can take a look at. So it does appear that these gloves are priced around $220 to $250. And that's relatively affordable considering things like the Index controller are $280. However, you do need to buy Tundra trackers to put on the back of them for the actual tracking of the hands.
Okay.
And the glove will handle the finger tracking.
Okay.
And we do also have a model just for demonstrative purposes of what you might expect it to look like when they finally release. They would look something like this, and the components are relatively simple, but it is really, really interesting. So these little gray devices here, these are housings that have two components in them. They have an IMU to track the rotational movement of the fingers, and they also have a magnetometer. And this is there to help calibrate and ground the fingers so that they don't drift over time slowly as you like hold your hand open or closed and stuff like that. There is also another interesting thing that I would like to talk about these gloves is the controllers. So these are the Magnetra controllers, and they come from a company called DiverX, which also makes mocap gloves, but not necessarily VR tracking gloves. So they're way more expensive, but they do have a similar controller. And as you can see, it does have a joystick. It does have the A and B buttons that you would expect to see on most normal controllers, as well as the trigger over here, and a touchpad buttons over here so that you can control things like scrolling. It also has these really interesting hinges which allow you to move the device and adjust it along your finger, or you can fold it up entirely and move it up here so it doesn't get in the way of your hand motions. You can also detach it and attach it whenever you like, though of course I don't have that implemented on the avatar, but in real life you'll be able to take it off and put it on. As for how the gloves actually work, they talk with the Tundra tracker. So instead of having a separate battery or a separate dongle, it's all connected to this Tundra device, and it'll send the tracking data through the Tundra as well as use the battery power from the device itself, which is really, really interesting.
That's amazing. Okay, can you show us again? No, just yeah, like that. Can you stay like that
Yeah.
for like 1 hour? Like it's amazing. Like
I made the model
no,
myself.
for real. So
So
you
wow.
did it. You did
Yeah.
that all by yourself, like on
Yeah.
YouTube. That's amazing.
That's amazing. Oh,
Thank you. Thank you.
So like when you will if you want to use, for example, like the controllers directly, we'll just have to do like the like that, like the
Yeah.
I mean,
These. You just
that's
move them.
amazing. Okay.
You just pick them up, and you can either move them out of the way, or you can move them along your hand. For example, maybe your thumb is a little bit further back, so you can put it over here, or maybe it's a little bit far forward, so you move it up more.
That's
Or
cool.
of course, you can take it off and put it on. Although I will mention that I would personally prefer something wireless that you can just like put down like those controllers, because I feel like if you're doing sign language or something like that, you're probably going to need to pick them up and like take them off all the time, because I feel like I would accidentally bump into this thing and break it all the time, especially if I'm doing like workouts or something like that. But it is really interesting, and I'm sure a lot of people will find it handy. Pun
Yeah,
intended.
as you, any questions? Do you guys have like any questions about that?
oh, I think just a comment. This is perfect for musicians like pianists or guitarists, to play their instruments like very accurately.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I
But
I
that's
love
all the
it.
topics I have to talk about for today, or at least this month. So let's move on to the next
Oh, you want to
person.
move on? I have so many questions. Like this isn't. This is actually. This thing is actually insane. Like you can like sign language, as you said, like guitar being like for the guitarist people. Like there is so many applications. Like it's insane. Like have you seen like I don't know companies that like would be interesting into buying that like for the I know like stuff that they do. Do you have like
Yeah,
any
yeah.
other applications that we can where we can like actually use those gloves like
Yeah, it's
like
super interesting. I'm surprised nobody has released anything like that before. It's really, really interesting.
like yeah guitar as you said like yeah
Yeah.
I'm just amazed. I'm maybe I'm the one like okay no
It's like playing a guitar, playing piano.
yeah guitar piano like really
Wow.
precisely and everything like
I know
having a
so
cup
many
of
people
coffee
who can
having
use
a
this.
cup of coffee in VR like precisely and drink like
And as you
do I
saw
like
in
a lot of
as you
things?
saw in the video, you can there's hand-to-hand interactions, you can cross your fingers,
Yes,
you can do all of
I
it. It's
was
perfectly accurate.
I saw the video. It's like when the person was able to do that like directly, like
Mm-hmm.
with the fingers. Like that's
You
cool.
can't
Okay.
do that with things like UDEX
Yeah,
gloves,
yeah,
UD
yeah.
cap gloves. It just doesn't happen.
That's
It's like that
amazing.
joke. It's like that joke
That's
about
really
the
cool.
will this let me play piano? And it's like, yeah, it'll let you play piano. Oh, great! I didn't know how to play piano
Okay.
before.
So
So
okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Wolf, and thank
Yeah,
you for
no problem.
everything.